Okay. So merges constructs solid battlefield. Okay. Then we do that, and then we're probably gonna go for a merger here as well. 5-time conditions by water and stone. 5 times smart splitters. Forward is leaves. Then right/left is biomass. Then we have 5 times constructors. Which makes which makes biomass. Sorry, input leaves. Oh my god. And output biomass. Then we have 5 times merges. Biomass from constructor, and also inputs biomass from conditioner, right? And then we have 2 times constructors, which inputs biomass and outputs solid biofuel. Hello? Solid biofuel.
Hey, Bitz.
Yeah. Hey, Archmeat. Corsair announcement usually on Fridays. Yeah, I don't think there is one this week. Added power poles and all recipes set, including smart splitters. Da-doo, da-doo, da-doo. Oh, where am I going with that? Boo-ba-doo. Do 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 do. Cool beans. Oh, you need to... You can't manually put it in, can you? Bit weird. But once it's already... Yeah. You can't manually put it in. This is bizarre. Hey, Bean. I need explosives. Okay. That's that done. Added additional what are they called actually? Biowater extractors. Nice. I didn't even create checkpoint 2. That's fine. Because I'm a spoon. Yeah. And how much power you can make with the three water bios? Don't know. So like, right there we've got 3, right? So technically, well, we kind of already know. We're making right now 60, 120, 150 solid biofuel, right? And then if we go and look at our current power with automated biomass, this obviously fluctuates, right? So we can't really test what we're going to be using. The only way we can kind of go off is if we actually head over to our biomass burners right now. Until we get a static power, we can't really assess it. But we do know that right now, these are burning 4 per minute each, currently in its current state, right? So if we was to go 4, 8, 12, 16, and then we was to do 150 divided by, well, technically 4, we can do 37.5, which will then get times by 30, which will give us 1,125 megawatts. Just from biofuel, the solid biofuel that's been made up here. Hello, do you think we can automate biofuel? Liquid biofuel, Destai? Because you'll be able to automate liquid bio. I'm really hoping, because liquid biofuel is the most useless thing in Satisfactory. It's the most useless item, except for jetpack, right? It's the only thing it's used for. You don't really use it for anything else. They need to change or do a recipe balance or add the biofuel to the blender. Yeah, it's going to go into the steam burner and stuff, yeah. So right now, our current power, if it was to use biomass generators, will equal 1,125 megawatts. But yeah, liquid biofuel is the most useless recipe in the current vanilla state of Satisfactory, apart from making it for jetpack fuel. That's the only benefit you want to use it for. Right. So 120 here and a 30 here. So now what we want to look at before we even get to the stone, I don't want to touch the stone yet because, you know, can biofuel not be burned in generators? It can be burned in generators, but why would you want to consume it as a generator, as a power source? So imagine this, right? You're making a big factory. You have to go over here, grab the your trees and leaves and stuff. You're gonna have to put it into 2 containers because you can't automate leaves or wood, right? You can't do any of that. Then you'll have to put wood into one, leaves into another container. You'll put them into a constructor with the leaves recipe and the wood recipe. That will make biomass. You can then merge them 2 biomass to make solid biofuel. Right, that solid biofuel then can go in to make liquid biofuel. Then that liquid biofuel will then go to your power generators. So why would you want to put something very unstable as a power source when you can just use oil? You know? Because to make liquid biofuel, you're going to need a blender. And to get a blender, or sorry, a refinery, you're going to be in tier 5 anyway, so what's the point in using that? Going around collecting wood and leaves at intervals throughout your save to put into a container when you can just put an oil drill down to make more power. It's a semi-manual, it's a semi-automated process, right? You can't fully automate liquid biofuel. Hence the reason I was hoping they would be adding gas vents. If they would add gas vents to the game, you know the green shit over there, which you can destroy. If you was to say in tier 5 or tier 6, say for example, you can extract that green gas from there, which we can. You could then put it into a refinery or a blender, which then you could automate liquid biofuel. Right? You could literally just get that, mix it with water, for example. And then you can make liquid biofuel. No, is smell-o-vision. Yeah, so you can do that. You don't want anything where you have to manually collect to thingy. Like, it wouldn't make sense for you to extract that gas, put it into a pipe, put it into a blender, then get water to put it into a blender, and then use a solid. I can understand it being another solid other than solid biofuel or biomass. Okay, are we... I think we're good with this, right? I think this is ready to rumble. We just need to add stone, and we need to make sure we consume the water that we have here. So we're producing 75 water. So if we just come down here, and let's just put in here, we are making 150 solid biofuel. And we are making 75 M2 of water. So these are what needs to be consumed. If we don't consume the 75 water, it means obviously this building as a the fluid conditioner as a byproduct will stop producing, because if this fills up with water, it'll stop outputting these, right? If these don't get automated or used as 100% efficiency, the water will end up getting backed up. So we need to make sure that the solid biofuel is either being sunk when not being used, or the water gets bottled or used in another alternate recipe. More than likely, when you make water as a byproduct, you normally put it with concrete, especially in the vanilla game, right? And to kind of consume it. So because we don't have that function right now, the only thing we can really do is store it, or we could look into steam cooling and biomass heaters, and we need to look into a boiler. A boiler is where it's going to get used. We just need to find out how much water this needs, and we don't know if it's stationary or it fluctuates depending on the temperature of your machine underneath, right? So for example, the temperature, burn, and fluid and gas buffer, right? So the boiler's attached. We already know this needs water up here, right? It doesn't tell us a specific amount it needs. Fluid and gas buffer, particles and sound, and temperature. So I need to figure out now, is the higher the temperature, does it mean the faster the burn percentage, and does it mean how much water is going to get put into here, right? So does it tell us on the actual tab? Buildings, boiler. $22.5. That's a shit number, that, isn't it? Only 7.5 per minute. That's going to be 20 heaters we can technically put down. But then we've got to remember, it's the water that is the power source, right? We need to bring in the water. So I think what we're going to have to do here, we're going to have to, with the boiler, we need to make this number a bit more whole. We already know the maximum pipe size right now we have is 150. We don't have underclocking. It would be nice if this was a round number, but it's not. It's 22.5. And if we times that by 2, that's 55. Times that by 4, it's going to be 110, which means the last ones have to be reduced, right? Hey, Gouda. Dynamo, thanks for the sticker. And that's going to create steam per minute. And then regarding generators, right? MV generator. No, it's not that, is it? It's, what's it called? Turbine. Turbine. So it's a 1-to-1 ratio with that. Okay, so that's good. Hot steam comes in. I'm just curious if we need to cool that steam down. That requires hot steam. Depends on what it classes as hot. 30-30. So 120 biomass, 120 biomass, and that. Then before we even get any of this power up and running, then the thing we need to look at is we need to bring in stone, right? And stone comes as a byproduct out of crushers, which means either how much does this need per minute of? It needs 10 per minute, and in total we need 50 per minute of stone. Which means we need to either have 3 crushers set up to bring a byproduct of 60 stone per minute. And then we can't underclock to bring that to 50, which means the crusher will... we need to use the items. Saying this is the first automated it's 45, yeah, sorry, Cinnamon, it's pretty chaos. This for a setup for your first automated power is pretty nuts, right? Because this is the first process of this. Then we need to get this biofuel that we're making here at 150 per minute. This needs to be 100% consumed. If it doesn't get consumed, it will back up. If it backs up, it's going to back up these conditioners. If it backs up the conditioners, it's going to back up the water. If it backs up the water will not get consumed for steam/power, right? And then on the other hand, them conditioners also need an intake or an input of stone, which comes from crushers, which come from ore, raw ore, right? The crushers output 20 stone per minute alongside 30 or even 60 ore per minute, right? We then need to make sure we consume that ore, because if that ore does not get consumed, that stone will get backlogged and stop being produced as a byproduct, which means these won't get produced, right? Get the input. So we need to make sure that ore is being consumed into items. We then need to, from there, make sure, again, like this biofuel gets consumed. We have no way of syncing right now. We also have no way of... technically, we have storage, but they're only small. We can put stuff into containers, but eventually they'll backlog. So it's like time for the awesome sink. But without the awesome sink, I need zinc. So we need to look into zinc as a... Not touched bronze yet. Not touched bronze yet. Okay. So that. So if we were to look at the awesome sync.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Pierre. Hello. Yeah, smart plating, smelter module. Awesome zinc. So we need to get zinc. We can make bronze by hand. That's not a problem. Modular frames, we can is something we need to look at as well. Right now, what I think we're going to have to do, just as a automated power source. And I think it's the way this mod is aimed at being, is making us like to be at, is to go from doing what you normally would do in biomass, right? Which is hand collecting the grass and the leaves and all that kind of stuff, then setting them up. Then I think this mod aims at making you go to the next step, which is use liquid biofuel, right? I said liquid biofuel, but liquid biowater. Is then setting this process up, right? And you use this in conjunction with either a iron setup, copper setup, or tin setup, using the byproducts of concrete, stone, which these are making, and use it with this setup, right? That's what you kind of want to aim for. In doing that, we can then have this producing the solid biofuel. With the solid biofuel we make from here at 150 per minute, we then put the automated biomass burners here for now, right? So the only thing we need to worry about is we could stockpile these up into storage containers right now, right? And then only problem we've got to do is make sure we keep emptying this. So we put a fluid buffer down, right? Or multiple fluid buffers, because technically it can only hold 150 unless they've changed it in this mod. It holds 400 water per minute. I said per minute, but cubic meters of water. So that will fill up at 75. And then every so often, we just need to flush this water line, right? Because there's nothing at the minute we could use to consume that water as an input, right? There's nothing we can't dump it. We can't do anything about that with it. We could possibly burn it and then just release the steam and everything like that into the atmosphere. We could possibly look at doing that, or use it as a fuel. So I feel like that's what we need to do. Noctum, welcome in.